After his mother passed away, he couldn't bring himself to go through her things. Her room still smelled like her perfume. Her chair still held the gentle indentation of her presence, and on her nightstand lay her old Bible, pages worn, corners curled, edges kissed by time. For weeks it stayed there, untouched. He wasn't ready. Grief has a way of making us afraid to move on, afraid to remember, afraid to forget. But one quiet afternoon, something inside him whispered, "It's time." He opened the Bible carefully, as though it might break. Inside, he saw the notes she'd scribbled in the margins, verses underlined, names circled, little prayers written in her tiny handwriting. And then something slipped from between the pages. It was a folded piece of paper, yellowed, soft, fragile. His heart stopped. He recognized her handwriting immediately. He sat down, hands trembling, and slowly unfolded the letter. It began simply, "My son, if you're reading this, it means I'm already home." He froze. Tears welled in his eyes. She wrote about her faith, her love, her hopes for him. She thanked him for being her greatest blessing, for the laughter they shared, the lessons learned, even the mistakes. She said she wasn't afraid to go, because she knew he would be okay. And then, at the very end, she wrote one sentence that would stay with him forever. "When life feels too heavy, remember, the same God who carried me will carry you too." Scene 4, the transformation. He sat there for hours, reading and rereading those words. Each line felt like a breath from heaven. The ache in his chest softened, not gone, but gentler, like a wound learning to heal. He realized something profound that day. Even though she was gone, her love was not. Her wisdom was not. Her faith, it had not ended with her last breath. It lived on, right there in him. That letter became his anchor. Whenever he felt lost, he opened it again. It reminded him that grief isn't the end of love, it's the proof of it. Maybe you've lost someone too. Maybe there's an empty chair in your home, or a voice you still hear in your dreams. Maybe, like him, you've wondered how to move forward when a piece of your heart feels missing. But let me tell you this, love doesn't end when a heartbeat stops. It continues through the memories we keep, the lessons we live, and the kindness we give. Sometimes, the people we lose leave us gifts, not always in letters or words, but in the strength they planted in us long before they left. He didn't just find a letter in that Bible, he found peace, he found faith again, he found the courage to live, not in the shadow of loss, but in the light of love that never fades. And maybe that's the message his mother wanted him, and all of us, to remember. That love, real love, is eternal. And sometimes, all it takes to rediscover it is opening the pages of our own hearts. Love letter. After his mother passed away, he couldn't walk into her room. The air still carried her scent, lavender and faith. Her Bible sat on the table by the window, its cover worn from years of prayer. Every time he passed by that door, something inside him broke a little more. He thought, if I open that Bible, I'll have to face the truth. She's gone. So, weeks went by. He avoided it. He prayed less. He smiled less. And slowly, the light of his faith began to dim. Then one morning, as sunlight streamed through the curtains, he felt something different. It wasn't a voice, just a quiet nudge in his spirit. A whisper that said, "Go." He walked into her room for the first time since the funeral. His hands shook as he picked up her Bible. The pages felt warm, as though her hands had just been there. And when he opened it, something slipped out. A letter, folded neatly, with his name written across it. He sat on the edge of her bed and opened it slowly. The handwriting, unmistakable, it began with the words, "My dear son, if you are reading this, I'm already with the one I trusted all my life." He froze. Tears welled up. She went on to write, I know life won't be easy. There will be days when you doubt, when you fall, when the world feels quiet. But remember, even when I'm gone, God is still near, and He loves you more than I ever could." He couldn't finish the letter the first time. He set it down, buried his face in his hands, and wept not from despair, but from an overwhelming sense of peace. That day, something changed in him. The weight on his chest lifted, ever so slightly. He realized his mother hadn't just left him memories. She'd left him a map. Her letter wasn't a goodbye. It was a reminder, a message that faith isn't about never feeling pain. It's about trusting that pain has a purpose. He began to pray again, not out of obligation, but out of gratitude. Every time life grew heavy, he opened that letter and read her words again. "Even when I'm gone, God is still near." And somehow, those words carried him through. Maybe you've been there too, in that quiet place of heartbreak, wondering if faith still matters. Maybe you've lost someone or something that made you question if God still listens. Let this story remind you, faith is not a feeling, it's a choice. It's choosing to believe that love never dies and that hope can be reborn, even from ashes. Sometimes, the miracles we're waiting for aren't loud or dramatic. Sometimes, they come folded between the pages of a worn-out Bible, written in the handwriting of someone who never stopped praying for us. That letter changed his life forever, not because of the paper or the ink, but because it carried a truth we all need to hear, that no matter what we lose, no matter how far we fall, God is still near, and sometimes the faith we think we've lost is just waiting to be found again in the quiet places, in the gentle whispers, in the letters of love left behind. Folded hands opening gentle and quiet, there are few things heavier than words left unsaid, few things more haunting than goodbyes we never got to say. This is a story about one man who carried that silence, until a single letter, hidden deep within his mother's Bible, gave him the closure he never thought he'd find. Scene 1: the silence after loss. When his mother passed away, the house became unbearably quiet. Every sound, the ticking clock, the wind outside, the creak of the floorboards, reminded him she was gone. He regretted not saying more, not visiting enough, not picking up the phone that one last time. Regret is a cruel companion. It whispers, "if only," when the chance is gone. And so, he stayed away from her room, afraid of the memories, afraid of the silence, afraid of facing what was left behind. One evening, as rain tapped softly on the windows, he gathered the courage to step inside. Everything was just as she left it, the knitted blanket on the chair, her glasses resting beside a half-read book, and her old Bible on the nightstand. He picked it up slowly. It was heavy, not with weight, but with time. Its pages were marked, edges curled from years of faith and prayer. As he turned a page, something fell out, a folded piece of paper. He frowned, picked it up, and froze. It had his name on it. His hands shook as he unfolded it. Her handwriting, soft and slanted, familiar and comforting. "My son, if you're reading this, I'm already home." He stopped breathing. She wrote about her love for him, the pride she carried, the joy he brought into her life. But she also wrote about the things she wished she could have said in person. "I'm sorry I couldn't stay longer, but please, don't let my absence steal your joy. Live fully, for both of us." And then, the line that broke him and healed him all at once. "When you miss me, don't look for me in the grave. Look for me in your laughter, in the way you love, in the life you continue to build." He cried deeply, freely, beautifully. For the first time since she passed, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt sacred. That letter didn't erase his pain. It didn't take away the grief, but it gave his grief a place to rest. He realized love doesn't vanish when life ends. It transforms. It lingers in the smallest moments, in the songs we still hum, the meals we still cook, the stories we still tell. Her letter became his light in the darkness. Every time he missed her, he opened it, and every time her words reminded him, "Goodbye isn't the end. It's simply love, waiting to meet us again someday." The message to the audience: maybe you've lost someone too. Maybe there's a letter you wish you could have written, or words you wish you could have spoken. But here's the truth: love doesn't need a final sentence to be complete. The people we lose live on through us, through our kindness, our courage, our laughter, and our choices. You carry them every time you choose joy over sorrow, forgiveness over bitterness, faith over fear. He never got to say goodbye, but in that letter he found something even greater, a new beginning. He learned that grief is not a sign of weakness, it's the echo of love that was real. And when love is real, it never truly says goodbye. Sparkles, sometimes life breaks us, not to destroy us, but to rebuild us into someone stronger, someone deeper, someone new. This is the story of a man who thought his world had ended until a single letter, hidden in his late mother's Bible, turned his pain into purpose. After his mother passed away, he lost more than a parent, he lost his anchor. She had been his guide, his quiet strength, his reason to keep believing when life got hard. When she was gone, everything felt empty. The prayers she taught him felt hollow. The faith that once lifted him now felt like an echo in the dark. He stopped showing up for people. He stopped smiling. He stopped living. He was merely existing. The world moved on, but he didn't. He'd sit by her chair sometimes, tracing the lines on the old Bible she used to read every morning. He didn't open it. He couldn't, because if he did, he knew he'd have to face everything he'd been running from. One quiet morning, months later, he finally found the courage. He opened the Bible and inhaled the scent of old paper and faint perfume, the scent of her. And there, between the pages of the book of Isaiah, was a letter, folded neatly, worn at the edges. He hesitated, then he opened it. Her handwriting instantly familiar, instantly heartbreaking. "My son, if you're reading this, I know you're hurting, but please, don't let pain harden your heart. Pain is not your enemy, it's the soil where strength grows." He read it once, then twice, then again, through tears that blurred the ink. You were never meant to stay in your sorrow. Use it. Build something with it. Let it remind you that even broken things can become beautiful again. Those words hit him like sunlight after a long storm. He realized this was her final lesson. She had always believed that strength was born through struggle, that the hardest seasons often hide the greatest transformations. So he made a decision that day, to live again. He started small, a walk outside, a call to an old friend, a visit to the church he'd avoided for months. Each step was hard, but with every one, he could almost hear her voice whispering, "Keep going, son, you're not finished yet." The letter didn't just comfort him, it changed him. It turned grief into gratitude, sorrow into fuel, loss into legacy. In time, he began to help others who were grieving too. He shared his story and her words with those who felt broken beyond repair. And every time he told it, someone else found hope again. He realized that his pain had a purpose, to remind others that even in our darkest chapters, we are being rewritten into something stronger. That was his turning point, not the moment he stopped grieving, but the moment he started growing. Maybe you're standing at your own turning point right now. Maybe life has stripped something away that you thought you couldn't live without. But listen, pain is not the end of your story. It's a passageway, a refining fire. And sometimes the letters we need most are the ones written long before we realize we'll need them. Her letter taught him this truth: when life feels impossible, don't ask why me. Ask what now, because that's where transformation begins. He found that letter by chance, but maybe, just maybe, it wasn't an accident. Maybe it was a message meant for all of us, that no matter how broken we feel, we are never beyond the reach of grace. And that sometimes, the end we fear the most is only the beginning of who we're meant to become. Sunrise, there are moments in life when love reaches beyond time, when it speaks to us long after the person who gave it is gone. This is one of those moments. It's the story of a man who thought he had lost everything, until a hidden letter reminded him that love doesn't die, it simply changes form. Scene 1: The weight of absence. When his mother passed away, the world lost its color. The laughter that once filled his home now echoed as silence. Every corner of the house felt like a memory frozen in time. Her favorite chair by the window, her cups still resting by the sink, her Bible resting on the nightstand. For months he couldn't touch a thing. It was too painful, too final. He said, "If I leave everything the way it was, maybe she's not really gone." But deep down, he knew grief had built a wall around his heart. One evening, while sorting through her belongings, he picked up her Bible. It was worn from years of devotion, pages marked, verses underlined, edges soft from prayer. As he turned the pages, something slipped out, a folded piece of paper. His name was written on it. His breath caught, his heart pounded. He unfolded it slowly, afraid to read, and yet desperate to know. Her handwriting was faint but familiar. Each word felt like her voice echoing softly through the room. "My beloved son," she wrote, "if you're reading this, I'm already home, but don't be sad for me. Every prayer I ever said was for you." He could barely see the page through his tears. She went on, "I've watched you grow into a man of kindness and strength. Promise me you'll keep living with that same love. When life feels heavy, remember that my love is still with you, not as a shadow behind you, but as a light within you." He pressed the letter to his heart and wept, because in that moment he realized he hadn't lost her at all. That letter changed everything. It became his reminder that love doesn't end with goodbye. He began to see her everywhere, in the sunrise, in the kindness of strangers, in the way he helped others just as she once helped him. He carried her words into every decision, every moment of doubt, every prayer. And whenever he struggled, he opened that letter again, not for comfort, but for courage. He realized her love wasn't something to move on from. It was something to move forward with. Maybe you've lost someone too, a parent, a friend, a soulmate. Maybe you still keep their things just as they left them, hoping to hold on to what once was. But I want you to remember this. Love doesn't live in things. It lives in you. Every act of kindness, every word of forgiveness, every brave decision you make. That's their legacy shining through you. Our loved ones may leave this world, but they never leave our story. They become the invisible chapters that give our lives meaning. He still keeps that letter, not because it ties him to the past, but because it reminds him of who he's meant to be. And maybe that's what love truly is. Not just something we feel, but something we carry, a mother's love. A timeless letter, a legacy that lives on in every heartbeat of those they touched. So if you've ever wondered where love goes when someone leaves this world, look inward. It's still there, guiding you, shaping you, and reminding you that you are loved beyond measure. Ready?